and welcome back to the Diamond Breakfast. Now we get into quite the intriguing interview. Why? Because this is a story that has gripped many of us with lots of excitement, many questions, and well, it is a big milestone for the Minor Soko Medical Center. The military hospital did carry out 2 brain surgeries through the month of June, and they have been very successful. And joining me in studio are the 2 survivors of that of the surgeries. We do have Likoji Mihova and also Yoram Sakala. He is a head teacher, and with Likoji, interesting as well, she is a politician and author as well as a teacher. Exciting stuff, isn't it? So we're gonna speak to them as they tell us now about their journey and what the experience has been like so far. Welcome to the Diamond Breakfast. I'm happy that you're both sitting here with us this morning, and what an amazing story coming through from the both of you. Do know that the surgeries were conducted by a very strong team of surgeons, local, and of course some from outside. And what an event it was yesterday to just hear the backstories of the journey. But I'll start with you, Mr. Sakala. Let's begin with your diagnosis. You know, picking up from the conversation from yesterday at the press briefing, you spoke of how in the beginning, you know, before finding out about the tumor that you had, you thought this was something to do with your blood pressure, you know, sugar and all of that, only to find out, you know, much later that there was a tumor. How did you receive that news?
Okay, thank you very much. And I would also thank the head teachers of Lusaka province that contributed for this surgery, and also the Honorable Minister, who is our MP, and my family. I was in Dola attending schools in the province. So the second day of the tournament, in the morning, I went to take a shower. I just felt dizziness, and lucky enough, I managed to finish bathing. And my fellow head teachers took me to Kalewa Clinic. That's how I was told that my BP was high and my sugar. Cutting the long story short, I was brought to Minor Soko Hospital after being given a little bit of drugs from Ndola Central Hospital, where I was referred after being at Kalewa Barracks. I did different scans and tests. I did MRI, eye scan, and MRI, it was the last. And I think the first one was a CT scan.
Yeah.
The doctors were suspecting first it was just a brain, a blood clot. So I started taking aspirin 5 grams. So Dr. Tosif and the team and later realized it was a tumor, and I was made to stop taking aspirin 75 gram.
Yeah.
That's how they diagnosed it. That's how I was told it is a tumor, and it is growing fast.
Wow.
That period after the Ndola attack, I was not talking. So I was made to start attending physio at Minor Soko. Though I was not talking, I was accompanied by a person to explain to the doctors. So I was told to organize the monies that are due to the removal of the tumor.
Yeah.
So basically, that's how I was told that it needs to be removed. Yeah.
Wow. I can only imagine also what it must have been for you to not be able to talk, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Likoji, let me also come to you. You thought you were having, going back to the presser yesterday, you mentioned how first it all started off with blackouts, with your vision, that is, and that was a concern, for you, and till later when you went to the hospital and it was there that you discovered about the tumor. What was that whole process even just like for you to be able to be told that you actually have a tumor, not what it is that you initially were suspecting it could have been?
Good morning, Malama. Thank you so much for having me on the show today. Yes, so I had been having blackouts, like blindness for 10 seconds, 15 seconds was the most amount of time I remember counting. And you can imagine I'm teaching online, because that's my main job.
Teach what exactly?
I teach English, IELTS and OETs and everything, especially English to foreign people who don't know how to speak English. So I'm teaching online, and you can imagine I can't see my screen. And I was freaking out, of course. So I'm telling my student, like, okay, yeah, so, I'm just talking from my memory. And it would come back. And I really thought it was nothing. And for 6 months, it was like that. And then it happened twice in a row where I woke up in the morning and I couldn't see the sun. Now that scared me, It was a Sunday and a Monday. And so I spoke to my boss and I said, look, I need time off this week just to get some medical checks done. And she's very kind. The company I work for is in Vietnam. So she was like, yeah, take your time off and go and do the test. And I did. When I got there, I thought, okay, I'm just going to need new glasses. Or I don't know what I was thinking. Or it's going to be a minor eye surgery, because I've had a minor eye surgery in my first week of grade 8.
Okay.
That happened. That was like 2006. So I thought it would be the same. And then a few days later, I was asked to do a CT scan, because the doctor said my optic nerves were severely inflamed. And when you hear CT scan, you know. I watch medical shows.
I know what you
And so, brain CT scan, I was like, okay, you know what? You have cancer. Accept it. And I cried, of course. I cried because you wonder, why me? I decided, you know what, if God was going to use this for me to bring glory to his name, then fine. Because I've sang those songs, Send Me, you know, Take Me Through the Fire.
Yeah.
So a few days later, they called me back to the hospital and said, we need to talk to you. And, you know, I went there and they told me that I had a mass in my head. That really freaked me out and I started to cry. The doctors were so kind, Dr. Walia and Dr. Yamba Yamba. They were so wonderful and they showed me, like, this is a meningioma. It happens mostly in women. It's not uncommon.
Okay.
I was like, oh, okay, so I'm lucky.
Yeah. Like,
no. But, yeah, they told me it had been growing in my head for over 3 years.
Wow.
That's how big it was.
Yeah.
There was no option but to remove it through surgery. I was told it's not cancerous. And yeah, they spoke to me about it. They really educated me about it because I didn't know about this thing. And we scheduled this, well, they tried to schedule the surgery, but because of different issues, I got admitted the same day, got discharged about 4 days later, and they told me that they would call me to come back. Little did I know, I only found out yesterday that they were actually, for those 2 weeks that I was home, I was told to go and fill up my tank spiritually, physically, emotionally. And I didn't know that they were actually sitting down and analyzing how they were going to do this.
Yeah.
And for me, that gives me confidence.
Doesn't it freak you out a little bit? Because, I mean, they didn't know how to go about it at the very beginning, so they needed that 2 weeks to just deliberate, to investigate, and see how they could be able to carry out a successful surgery.
Yeah. I'm glad I didn't really understand that before the surgery, but I do remember Dr. Tosef telling me, like, we've done bigger tumors than this. However, it's sitting in your sagittal sinus, you know, and it's not far from the part where my extremities are controlled, you know, my hands and legs. They asked me as well if I had personality changes in the last few years, and apparently it's true. My parents can attest to that.
You've been changing without even realizing as to why.
Yes, I quit a lot of jobs out of anger.
Wow.
You can imagine. And I was very tempestuous and impulsive as well. And I do feel a change after it was removed, really.
Like a sigh of relief,
Yes.
a sigh of a weight lifted off your shoulders.
Yeah.
Wow. Mr. Sakala, let me come back to you also. You know, looking at the fact that your speech was affected by your tumor, and tell me about the day that even you wake up one day and you can't speak anymore. You know, that must have been very, very scary for you and for our viewers maybe wondering, his speech is slightly slower than usual because he's also just trying to recover. It's been, you know, a minute since he was able to just be able to have fluid conversations. But getting back to the question, well, that must have been very scary for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the fact that though I'm a head teacher, but I teach.
And what subject do you teach yourself?
I teach special education.
Yeah.
I'm a special educationist.
Okay.
And I teach the mathematics. And I like the EC, the beginners.
Okay.
The beginners, yes. That was the most frustrating thing. Waking up not to talk.
Yeah.
The first days I was shedding tears when I saw my fellow head teachers visiting me, and the provincial office, my debs, and the different people. I was shedding tears. I reached at a point when I remembered that God wants to show himself in my situation. I was getting stronger and stronger by the day. I was in a position that I couldn't understand what was happening to me. When I came from Ndola, I was staying with my sister in Ilai, and many people were visiting me. Those who visited me in the first days, they were surprised that I was no longer shedding tears, since I found strength, and my colleagues and my family were telling me all will be well. And those are the important words that strengthen me. And when I visited the school, PTA, different stakeholders in the school, when they were coming to see me, I couldn't cry or
express your emotion like that.
Then they started feeling bad for me. I was explaining to them that I have seen the power of God.
I want to ask you then also, how are you communicating with other people in that space that you couldn't speak?
That was the most interesting thing.
Can you imagine?
I know sign language.
The
people that I was talking to.
Why aren't you speaking in sign right now, right? You should be telling other people right now in sign language.
My left right hand is still weak.
Okay.
So my family and my friends were joking with me that talking to him is using signs. Us do not understand signs. So it was pointing at things that I wanted. So that is the situation I was passing through in 21 days.
Wow.
SMS, I couldn't manage to type. Words, I was skipping some letters, meaning the friends and the people that I intended to communicate to could not get the meaning. So it was a matter of pointing at things that I wanted.
So surgery is done.
Yes.
You're out of the hospital and you hear your voice after 21 days. What did that feel like for you?
That's the point which were both emotional and happiness. I went in the theater at 9 hours. My sugar was high, so I delayed a little bit for the doctors to stabilize my sugar. And I was told, I was just told, that I went in at 13 hours.
Okay.
13 hours to 17, 18, I was out to the ICU. But, surprisingly enough, I wasn't put on the oxygen.
Okay.
Yeah, I was put on a tube for glucose. I told my cousin, first time talking, how are you? I'm fine. Come and get a photo with me.
Oh,
The photo, I immediately send it to people that helped me to raise money. The head teachers, the MP for Lufunsa, the union. I almost forgot. I belong to Betos. Betos. The Betos who also helped me. I sent them the picture of me in ICU, which to some it was a sign of relief. To some it was somehow terrifying, because the tubes in my nose, there was no life. And before the tumor was operated on, I liked the words of the doctors, Tosif Walia and Dr. Kunda, to say 3 things are possible, telling my family members.
Okay.
He is not, after tumor, he is not going to talk, just be a person in a wheelchair, or is going to talk. The tumor attacked the speech organs. Yeah, it was almost attacking speech organs. So I didn't know doctors also celebrate for their work well done.
Yeah.
I saw Tosif and Walia 24 hours after I was moved to the ward. I saw their smile for first time.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was able to walk a bit.
Oh,
yeah.
That's amazing. Your story is so inspiring. I hope it does get to encourage many others. But bringing back also to you, Likoji, I mean, looking at the fact that before you went into surgery, and let me tell you, you had such a crown of hair.
Yes.
on your head, but being told that you had to shave it off as well, just to ensure that you can conduct the surgery. Did that hurt you in any way, to lose? Because, women, we love our hair. It's a big deal, and especially when it's natural in its own original form. Did that break your heart a little bit?
Kind of, yeah. When I found out that I had to shave it off, that was a bit like, oh, do I really have to? And my scar is right at the front, so the doctor told me, like, you can only just shave half your head, and I was like, no, I'm not going
to work.
Exactly. I was like, I'll shave it all off.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they really wanted to avoid was infection. So it's a meningioma, so meningitis. And when I heard that, because my cousin died of meningitis a few years ago, about 2 years ago, and I thought to myself, like, that won't be me. So yeah, I immediately disconnected from my hair. And so I had no emotional attachment to it. And my sister, my dad, and my brother cut it off. Or should I say my brothers?
Your brothers cut it off.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still upset about how much they enjoyed doing it.
So are you looking, so what happens now? Are you going to rock this look for a little while?
Yeah, I'm kind of digging
Enjoying the up and go feel, right?
Yeah.
But let's come back also just to the surgery. You go in for surgery, you come out, and you open your eyes.
Yeah.
Tell me what was going through your mind at that moment.
The first thing I remembered, honestly, was feeling someone touching my forehead. And when I found out later that how the surgery was done, it made a lot of sense, because I had so much pain when I woke up. I had so much pain all over my forehead, and they actually gave me opioids to keep me in check. And I woke up in the ICU, but I was told that I woke up within 10 to 30 minutes after the surgery.
Okay.
And I could recognize my family, their voices and things like that. So for me, like I keep saying, like, when I woke up, I was like, oh my God, I am alive, you know. Nobody wants to die at 29. Nobody.
No, nobody.
No.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm alive. And for me, that was a testament to the confidence of the doctors, my own confidence, the confidence of my family, because we all chose together to say we would do this in Zambia at Mainasoko.
Let's come to that. I know that your dad is the former lieutenant general for the army commander as well, and that's for the Zambia army. But I want to get this from you. I mean, looking at the fact that you could have done it anywhere. You could have, gone to India. You could have gone wherever it is, to get this surgery done. But you still decided to do it here. And there's been a lot of skepticism when it comes to, the medical achievements or medical possibilities that can be carried out here in Zambia. You had that faith within the doctors here. And I'm sure everyone was also wondering, like, where did that come from, and why so much confidence within, the doctors that we have here?
Yeah. I think it's a confidence in the army. Because I'm an army child, born, and my dad was in the army. And he was in the army for over 40 years. So I had a lot of experience with Mainasoko. I'd been there for so many different things. And because I was living in England, and then when I came back, I heard that Mainasoko was revamped. So I was like, you know what? That's where I want to go for my eye checks. And then they told me they have a neurosurgery department. I was like, oh, I had never heard of that growing up. So to find out that they had a neurosurgery department, and then meeting the neurosurgery team, that for me solidified it immediately. And I didn't want to burden my family with the cost of medical repatriation, And I'm so grateful for the management at Mainasoko. And I know a few of them as well.
Yeah.
I know the army commandant at Mainasoko.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be surrounded by people I know, people who love me and have the best in mind for me. And that's the reason I chose to stay in Zambia, really.
No, that is so amazing. And, for you, Mr. Sakala, knowing that you could have done, you were able to do the surgery here, how did that make you feel to know that at least it can be done here in Zambia?
Okay. To start with, when the doctor mentioned it and mentioned the amount.
What was the amount?
The amount was 50,000.
Okay.
My family had they had less than 20,000. And when the doctors told me, you are going to, I remember Dr. Wowa, one of the management team, telling me, you are a civil servant.
Yeah.
You can sign an agreement with us. How the payment plan? The payment plan was such that I paid 10,000, then look for the rest as the process is get started.
Okay.
So for me, going to India, I couldn't manage. I wouldn't have managed, because as civil servants, our hope is in Nima.
Yes.
Being told that brain surgery is not part of Nima was a worry at my part.
I can imagine.
The head teachers in Zambia are organized in such a way that there's a national body which has a dean. A province has a dean, and a district has a dean.
Okay.
I happened to be a dean of Lufonsa. So working with other dean with permission from our provincial office, the dean of district managed to organize the fellow head teachers to contribute whatever amount. So that's how the money was raised.
Wow.
And suffice it to mention that the Honorable MP for Lufonsa constituency, who happens to be the provincial minister, when she heard this this news, she was equally worried, because I've been teaching for over 20 years, and I've been a head teacher for over 10 years.
You must be excited to be getting back soon to work.
Very much. I can't wait.
I love it. I love it.
Sure,
I love the fact that you are looking forward to it. And I can see you are recovering well.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I need like it was mentioned yesterday, I need a therapist for speech.
Okay.
And I was giving clues on how I was going to do it through YouTube.
Ah, yes, University of YouTube. I love it. I love it. Likoji, and you? How is recovery going?
Recovery has been really good. At first it was a bit slow. I had people were thinking I went to harvest honey because my face was swollen. But the doctors told me it was normal and they were expecting it. So again, that gave me confidence.
Okay.
And so, I took a lot of photos. But it's been good. The only thing I can say is tiredness. So you might find that I've gone for a walk and then I get so tired, like I've run a marathon.
Wow.
Or you find the same with you.
Yeah.
And you
I
find
hope you
that
two are budding as being each other's support.
we've got
buddy.
each other's numbers.
Okay.
And you find that you want to do something because the house has stairs. So I have to keep holding on to the rails. But yesterday was my first day out of the house in 2 weeks. So tomorrow will be 2 weeks since my surgery.
Wow.
And I feel really, really good. Like my mom and my dad and my sister have been cleaning my wound. And everything is sterile and sanitized.
Yeah.
So I feel good. And I've been told that I can get back to work in about 8 weeks. So
Okay.
I can't wait to do that. And get back to my students as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I love the fact that you're both in the teaching sector. I cannot lie, in the education sector. I think it's just such a beautiful coincidence at the end of it all. And I think it is you now the custodians of this knowledge to be able to teach and tell people as much as you can and restore that confidence in the Zambian health sector.
Yes.
So I thank you both for being here with us and being able to share the story and journey that you have been on so far, and we can only wish you the very best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, I'm so happy to be able to have done this, to be able to share and hopefully also restore confidence in you in the medical sector. You don't have to go outside the country no more, you know, and raise hundreds of thousands of kwachas just to be able to conduct some of these surgeries. So it has been Likoji, Mihova, and Mr. Yoram Sakala, who have been joining me here today. We're going to take a short break, and when we do get back, well, we still